Welcome to the one person where we believe that the key to designing the life of your dreams is you. At the one person we believe, I teach from this framework called the Better Life Framework, which is simply the three requirements you need in order to fulfill your vision, or the life of your dream, in order to manifest the life of your dream. And on the previous video, which I recorded like 3 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks ago now, I was sharing the story of how I came to this understanding of how I came to this better life framework. And I shared the three requirements required for you to design the life of your dreams, which I talked about your vision, I talked about the vehicle required, which is either about the people or the money you need in order for the vision to fulfill, and the most important of all three, which is the vessel, yourself. Because regardless of how the vision is big, regardless of how the vehicle is right, if you don't have the right vessel driving the vehicle in order to fulfill the vision may never come to pass. And most of us struggle with that, thinking that maybe it's just about not being in the right environment, not being in the right area, not being in the right kind of business, the right kind of job, in the right kind of career whatsoever, or maybe it's the vision that is the problem. But we forget about the vessel, which most of the times is our beliefs and our behaviors that are keeping us on one place, that are keeping us stuck, that are keeping us burnt out, that are keeping us frustrated, that are keeping us struggling. And we think, no, life is just a struggle. No, life isn't just a struggle. You have the power to change whatever you think is not working for you, but you need to understand how, which is why on that previous video I talked about the love method, which is what I use in order to examine myself. Because yes, your mindsets are important, yes, your beliefs and behavior are important, but one of the things that hold most of us back, that we the last thing, or the thing we never even look at, which is ourselves, the vessel, is because we feel so shame, we feel so much of shame, so much of guilt, that we don't want to take responsibility. But responsibility isn't about shaming yourself, blaming yourself, or giving excuse of why you were the problem. Responsibility is the ability to respond, to the ability within you, is you taking ownership of your life, accepting that whatever life you want, whatever life you want to create for yourself, for your family, for your society, for your nation as a whole, start with you. Which is why I call all of you listening to me change agent. And a change agent is simply a visionary leader that is willing to build something beyond themselves by starting with themselves. I don't want to call you followers, I don't want to call you any kind of thing. I want you to, every time you hear my voice, every time you stumble on this page, to remember that you are a change agent. You are a visionary leader that is willing to build something beyond yourself, but by starting with yourself, because you are the key to the life you desire and deserve. So last week I gave us an overview, I can say, of where all of the things I'll be teaching on this page will be guiding us into, whether it's through my personal stories of how I've grown for the past almost 7 years now, or as I'm being led by the Holy Spirit to share things regarding specific areas of life. But today I wanted to talk about the value system, because last week, or the last 2 weeks or so, when I talked about the three requirements to design the life of your dream, and I mentioned about your vision, the vehicle, the vessel, and I talked about the love method, which is used to help you work on yourself. One of the things I feel I need to say right now, even before we go any further on this page, is about the valley season. Because when we have an idea, when we have a business idea, when we have maybe a career path that we want to take on, we want to do, when we have something we want to start, most of the time, the first thing we think of is how to pitch ourselves, how to be seen. I will think about the visibility of it, which is quite not right, especially in the world in which we live in today. Today, every business is built on a digital platform. I remember I grew up um in Cameroon, and that time when you had a business, you either rent a store, buy a store, build one for yourself if you had the land, or carry things on your head and be walking around in the market and selling. But times have changed. Although in some nations things like that are still being done, but in most nations, no, it's not. Today, when you think of starting something, even if it's a career path, you see, even on LinkedIn today, you can want to apply for a job, you can go on LinkedIn, look for companies that you're interested in, and see if they're hiring, and send your CV. Say most of the things today are being done digitally, so it's the way you show yourself. You realize that even a normal personal page on social media isn't just a personal page, because you might be posting certain things about yourself, thinking that this is just my life, this is just my personal whatsoever. But you're applying to companies that some of them are even going back, searching you on social media to try to know which kind of person are we really hiring. Like, what is the person outside of this description of CV that the person has submitted? Which is why you realize today that whatever you do with your life is not that you have to be you cannot live again, you can't enjoy yourself again, but I like to say you can enjoy yourself with excellence, even if it's just a personal page you have, even if it's just a page that you are just posting things because that's what you relate with, that's what brings fun to you. You can do it with excellence. You can do it without allowing it hinder you from designing the life you desire for yourself outside of that page. It's possible, and you can do it by being yourself. You don't need to become somebody else so people can take you serious before you do whatever you want to do on your page. But with that idea, with that being said, whenever we think of starting something, a business, a career path, in the world today, in most nations, social media is the first place you can actually showcase yourself. Like, I call it positioning yourself for visibility, positioning yourself in order for people to see. So when we think of success in general, when most of us want to start something, we think of visibility first. We think of being seen. How do I make the content? How do I write the CV? How do I make sure I convince this person or help the person see that I'm interested in this, I'm serious about this? We forget about the value, because without the valley there's no visibility. Most of us just want to jump from one height to another, from one mountain height to the next, or from one step to the next step, without experiencing the valley season. And it is in the valley where the vision is refined. It is in the valley where the vehicle is refined. It's the valley that the vessel is refined, because even though you might have worked in a company in a specific area, career path for years, when you're thinking of expansion, when you're thinking of growing, when you're thinking of taking higher grounds, there's a requirement to slow down a little bit, to what I call to not just seek the visibility, but sit in the valley to re-examine what exactly do I want, and how exactly the vehicle do I want to get there, and who do I need to become in order to be that person. That's what the valley season is required for. Most of us just want to jump from one height to the other, which is why we are frustrated when we reach the first place. But I've been doing things. Why is that this feels this? Why is that this feels this? Why is that I feel this way? Because you haven't yet become the person to do that. You just jump into the next thing without embracing the valley season. Because when I spoke about the fact that I had a vision of becoming a neurosurgeon, and when I realized that the money I was making, the vehicle that I was trying to use to make sure the vision was fulfilled was working, but something wasn't quite right, and I realized I was the problem. Instead of just jumping to the next thing or being like, okay, I'm the problem, so let me let me try to fix certain things so I just move on to the next thing. No, I had to stop, because the next year when I had the opportunity to still go and work as I was working the 2 previous years, I said no. And I had the opportunity to even make more money. But I said no. Why? Because I realized I had to embrace the valley season, to work on myself, and to really ask myself, is that the only way to get there? Is the vision even the right one for me? Which most of the time the vision is, but the vehicle is not. The people you're trying to work with are not the kind of people you need around you. The people you're, so whether it's just your friends, whether it's just co-workers, there's a certain environment you're in, surrounding yourself with certain people that are not, and it's in the valley that you, as you're working on yourself, you're changing your beliefs and behaviors that are hindering you from fulfilling the vision you have for yourself, that you are able to see, who exactly do I need? Okay, I thought or how much exactly do I need, or how exactly do I get the amount of money I need to have? And the focus is on the vision, because your goal is not just to make money, your goal is not just to network, your goal is to be able to fulfill the vision you have, to design the life of your dream. So you can't just focus on how to make the money, you have to focus on the vision, which is why the Bible always says that God shows us the end from the beginning, because your goal is to stay on the vision you have and make sure that the vessel is being aligned with the vision, and the vehicle eventually will come along. But most of us don't want to do that. Why? Because we want to skip the valley season. We want to skip the valley season because we think sitting in the valley is about declining, it's about decreasing, it's about degrading, it's about reduction. It's like, no, the new me has this way, but now that, how can I step back now? Does it mean I'm failing? Does it mean I'm this and that? And that's where love comes in, which is why in the love method, the first letter, the first thing you need in order to design the life of your dream using the better life framework is to love yourself. To love yourself enough to know that making certain decisions that in alignment to who you want to become in order to fulfill the vision doesn't mean you're failing, doesn't mean your success is declining, doesn't mean you're being left behind and the world is moving ahead of you. Because I call the valley season your bow and arrow season, where you're being repositioned to be aimed with precision. I don't know if you know how arrows, when you have an arrow and you want to throw it at something, you usually pull the string back and you're being repositioned. I call it being repositioned to be aimed with precision. So it's not that you're going back, you're just being repositioned to make sure you're having the right vehicle, because that's what will really help you. Because the kind of people that help you to get to where you are today are not the kind of people that will help you to get to where you want to go. And at times we are reluctant to let that go, to accept that it is not about them being bad, it's not about me being bad. It's just that we are in misalignment in this season of my life. We are in misalignment if I really believe I deserve this vision I say I have for my life. If I really believe I want to design this life I say I dream for myself, for my family, for my business, for my nation, whatever that is for you, am I willing to be isolated, to be separated? Which is not a bad thing if you understand the importance of the valley. Because when you even read in the Bible, no person that was willing to embrace the wilderness came back the same or came back worse than they were before they went there. They always came back better. Why? Because they choose to trust God. They choose to understand that something in me needs to be worked on. And it helps you see the vision clearly. It helps you know the right kind of vehicle, which are the kind of people you need, which is the right kind of resource you need in order to make the income required, the money required to fulfill the vision. And not just, and as you had, it's refining that is helping you refine the person you are in order to drive that vehicle properly. Because as I always say, it's not about the amount of money you make. It's not even about the kind of people you surround yourself with. It's more about who you are in using those resources, because people around you are just like resources that God has placed around you in order to usher you into the life of your dreams. But if you're not the right person in order to make good use of those relationships, by using, I'm not saying using people, but at least the least of it, respecting them enough, valuing them enough, understanding their place in your life and honoring that, so that whatsoever God placed in them can be drawn out of them into you. You will never get there, and you always complain, oh, I don't have people, oh, I'm not surrounded by people, oh, I don't, nobody is willing to help me. But it's your character that is chasing them away. It's your character that is repelling them. It's your character that is preventing them from helping you. Why? Because you have not become the person that can handle that level of relationships. And I always like to take the example of relationship when it comes to dating and marriage. Most of us pray for the perfect spouse, but are we this perfect spouse? As a woman, as you're praying for the perfect husband, are you the perfect wife? So we like to throw out the responsibility of the life we want to have for ourselves on other people. We like we want the life, but we don't want the responsibility that comes with it. We don't want the work that we need to do that comes with it. So we like to give it to other people, to expect other people to do it for us, so we can just sit there and just, sorry, but life is not that way. Because even if God gives you that opportunity, you will self-sabotage yourself out of it. Your character will not allow you, your beliefs and behavior about how things should be done, how you should treat people, how you should use money, won't allow you to stay in that environment for long. Which is why we see a rise today, a fall tomorrow. I call it transverse growth. You're always moving up and down. Why? Because you're not willing to embrace the value system where the vessel will be worked on. And until you do, you're always moving up and down. We're moving in circles, what I call movement, but not, we're moving, but we will not be progressing in life. So don't just seek for the visibility. Of course, the visibility will come, because when you are in the valley, you're being repositioned. You're being repositioned to be aimed with precision, and you will not miss your target. Trust, because who is the person doing that? God. You will miss your target. He says when he sends his voice, he's never sent his word void, and his word never returned to him without fulfilling the purpose for which he sent it. So as we desire to design better life for ourselves, as we desire to dream bigger, let's not forget that between every two mountains, I want to use my fingers as the mountain. This one is short, and this is your next level where you're going to. Between these two mountains, there's always a valley in between. There's always a valley. And sitting in the valley doesn't mean you're being left behind. Doesn't mean you're decreasing. Doesn't mean you're declining. It simply means you're being repositioned to be aimed with precision. Like you're being repositioned. You're being pulled back to make sure you don't miss your target. And after what I've experienced the last almost 7 years now, I'm proud of myself of making that decision. Was it easy? No, but it wasn't about the easy part. It was always about what was possible for me. Could this work? Could I be able to make more, to be more effective, to make more money, to be more happy, to be more joyful, to be more peaceful with myself, in my life? After I've taken time to make sure I work on myself to be the person I want, to be the person I need to be in order to stand in that vision I have for my life. And trust me, I am. And I will continue to grow, because as you grow, as you fulfill the vision, keep expanding. As you reach the next level, you see bigger. And there's another requirement again of going, because that's why I say the valley season is not a one-time. It's not a one-time thing. Every time you want to experience growth, you want to move from one level to the next level, or there's a valley you have to experience, and you have to be willing to embrace it, because it's not there to kill you, it's not there to delay you, it's there to reposition you so you can be aimed with precision. That's what I came here to talk about today, and I pray this is a blessing to you. Until next time, and please share your comments, share your thoughts, share what has you have taken from this, how you shift something in you, because I'm not here to inspire you, I'm here to ignite something in you, I'm here to spark, to light up the light I know is in you, so you can see the value, the wealth that God has deposited in you, the glory within you. And I'm here to help you recognize that. That's the first thing. And the second thing, to refine it so you can be able to release it for the world to behold. Until next time, become a track and enjoy all God has for you.